The exam room during the Spring Festival is a row of small dark rooms, called haoshi. After the students enter, the supervising guards will lock the main door, leaving only a small window for passing the exam papers. An entire day, the students eat, drink, and relieve themselves in the small dark room. When they first entered the hospital, familiar students were chatting and laughing, feeling at ease, because since ancient times, the imperial exams have emphasized classics over poetry. Coupled with the long decline of the poetry scene in Dafeng, this last session of the imperial exams is merely a formality for most students, but others can take it easy. Xu Erlang knows he cannot be careless, because he is a student of Yunlu Academy. After passing the imperial examination, he could either be sent to remote areas or be delayed in getting an official post. Xu Erlang has his own ambitions. He didn't want to be sent to a remote and poor area, nor did he want to be sidelined in the capital. He sighed. The road ahead is long and uncertain. At that moment, the bugler outside knocked on the small window, and said in a muffled voice, "Sir, the papers have arrived." Impatiently unfolded to check, by the orange candlelight, Xu Zinian took a clear look. The topic was a quote from Chengxi's War: "The commander of an army can be captured." The well-read Xu Erlang instantly extracted the core. Yangzhe. He stared at the test paper. His expression was uncontrollably dazed. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Xu Erlang murmured, "Did Big Brother step in dog poop before entering my room that day?" How did he even guess that, with Big Brother's poetic talent? Since he guessed the exam question correctly, then in the third round of the imperial exam, I, Xu Erlang, will dominate. I might be able to compete for the top scholar. Thinking of this, Xu Zinian's expression turned into sheer joy and excitement. Truly, if heaven did not give birth to me, Xu Zinian, the imperial examination would be as dark as the endless night. Could Big Brother really be my lucky star? His hand trembled slightly as he held the pen. Calm down, calm down. What was the poem Big Brother gave me to inspire me? Xu Zinian forced himself to calm down. Such a lack of ambition. It's just an exam. Why are you so excited? Father and elder brother have both said that I have the potential to be the prime minister. He suddenly straightened his back. After making a self-deprecating joke, I felt more relaxed. My hands stopped shaking. I quickly wrote on the paper, "Golden goblet of fine wine worth 10,000 coins. Jade plate of delicacies worth 10,000 more." Stopped drinking and eating, drew my sword and looked around, my heart confused. Wanting to cross the Yellow River, ice blocks the stream. About to climb the Taihang Mountains, snow fills the peaks. Idly fishing along the clear stream. Suddenly I dream of riding a boat to the edge of the sun. The journey is difficult and filled with obstacles, so many winding paths and vast distances. Where am I now? Lost. There will come a time to ride the waves and break through, hanging the sails straight to cross the vast sea. Xu Zinian finished writing the poem. He read it repeatedly, to ensure he hadn't made any mistakes, but new doubts arose in his mind. What is the Yellow River? Fishing idly by the clear stream, suddenly I dream of rowing a boat by my eyes. Do these two lines have any historical allusion? Xu Erlang frowned. Big Brother is really something. He didn't leave any notes when writing poetry. How am I supposed to understand his mindset when he wrote these poems? The Yellow River and Taihang should be river and mountain names. This can be replaced. As for leisurely fishing by the blue stream, even without historical references, it's not hard to understand the intended meaning. No big issue. So, Xu Zinian changed the Yellow River and Taihang, then picked up the pen to answer. Composing traveling is hard. The chief examiners for this spring examination are Grand Academic Scholar Zhao Ting, and Right Censor-in-Chief Lu Hong, and the Imperial Academy Scholar Tu Kuanking's book. Right Censor-in-Chief Lu Hong cursed loudly. Nonsense. What kind of lousy poem dares to make a fool of itself in the imperial exam, using bamboo as a metaphor to express ambition? The angle is quite good, but it praises the bamboo more than the ambition. It's putting the cart before the horse. Grand Scholar Qian Guangshu of Wying Palace sighed deeply, and looked for a long time. Not a single astonishing poem. Zhao Tingfeng from Dong's University said calmly, "Isn't it the same every year? We're all used to it." The examiners are also called the curtain officers. They review the exam papers while commenting. Unlike the scholars, the examiners have not left the examination hall since the start of the exam. The main gate is locked, unless they grow wings, otherwise, don't even think about leaving. At this moment, an examiner sighed. If Shu Qian were to participate in the imperial exam, without a doubt, at least this year's exam would produce a timeless poem. Who says it isn't so? It's a pity Shu Qian is not a scholar. In future historical records, the best poetry of the Yuanjing era will be attributed to him. Where will we scholars save face? They were talking, and all pointed their fingers at the same person. All the mistakes are Xu Pingzhe's fault. He's truly despicable. At this moment, a grading officer suddenly sat up in shock. His lips kept muttering repeatedly. Who said scholars of Dafeng can't write good poetry? Who said that? The grading officer said excitedly, I dare say, this poem will surely become famous. This year's exam will be recorded by historians. The examiners beside him cast curious glances. They all rushed over to read it. One of them grabbed the paper, and read it carefully. His body started trembling with excitement. Dong's University's elder with graying hair frowned. He was attracted by the noise. He immediately coughed a few times in displeasure. How can you be so noisy? An examiner immediately stepped forward, respectfully handing over the paper. East Pavilion University took the paper and glanced at it. I couldn't stay calm immediately. This child is definitely a great talent. If both the classics and policy questions are excellent, I will surely appoint him as the top candidate. The next subject after the Spring Festival ends, Xu Zinian found that his treatment at home had plummeted. In the past, every morning, his mother would have the kitchen heat a bowl of steaming hot milk. At noon, it was aromatic chicken soup. In the evening, ginseng soup. But since the last event ended, the milk is gone. After asking when the results would be announced, everyone stopped paying much attention. Xu Qian asked with a smile. Erlang looks like he's in a bad mood. Did he not do well on the last exam? Xu Erlang responds listlessly. No, big brother, you guessed the questions correctly. Xu Qian was both surprised and unsurprised. He nodded and asked, patriotism or aspiration? Xu Zinian replied, aspiration. By the way, big brother, where are the Yellow River and the Taihang Mountains? Fishing idly by the clear stream, suddenly dreaming of sailing by the sun. Which classic are these two lines from? Xu Qian hesitated for a moment. Is there a story behind this sentence? Why don't I remember it? Xu Qian forced an explanation. Fishing idly by the emerald stream, because I like fishing. Dreaming of returning to the boat, that is. Oh my, why do you talk so much? The exams are already over. Still making a fuss here. Quickly tear up the 4 books and 5 classics. Big brother will take you to the brothel tomorrow. Xu Qian, unable to continue his lies, cursed and ran away. Returned to the room, he found Zhang Li sitting by the bed, holding her head in pain, with faint traces of blood seeping out. Xu Qian stepped forward to help her up. Fell again? Zhang Li nodded aggrievedly, and then said, I found that your sister's fate is very tough. Xu Qian asked in confusion, which sister? Zhang Li said, the smaller one. I've stayed at your mansion for quite a while, from uncles to servants. Everyone's luck has worsened, only that child remained unchanged, unaffected by bad luck. Xu Qian laughed and said, so, does that mean my sister also has great fortune? Zhang Li slowly shook her head. People with good fortune have deep blessings, they benefit everywhere, but she clearly isn't. She simply has a tough fate, unaffected by bad luck. Xu Qian suddenly thought of something, and questioned, has everyone's luck in the mansion gotten worse? Now that you mention it, I suspect I haven't picked up any silver these days. Is it because of you? Zhang Li answered honestly, I don't know. Xu Qian thought for a moment and suggested, I suddenly have an idea. If Lingyan can be immune to your bad luck, then I'll take her with me when I go out. I'll be able to find silver again. How about we test it out? Xu Qian immediately left the room, and called little Do Ding to follow beside him. He then went to the front hall and brought out the orchid bonsai that his aunt loved. He placed it on the wall of the corridor, and then put little Do Ding underneath it. Xu Qian gently guided, sit here and eat the pastries. After eating, we'll go back. Originally, the clever little Do Ding would find it strange. Why eat outside? But as soon as she heard there was food, her already limited intelligence plummeted, and she happily agreed. Zhang Li, hiding nearby, whispered, with my bad luck. The bonsai will definitely fall." Sure enough, as soon as Shu Qian placed the bonsai, not even a few seconds passed, when a loud bang came from outside the wall. It felt like being hit hard by someone. Then the potted plant above started to wobble. After swaying a few times, it finally fell down as expected, and at that moment, an orange cat darted out of the flower bed, and leaped up. With a swipe, it knocked over a potted plant, towards Shu Qian. He hurriedly crouched down to dodge it. But Zhang Li, behind him, didn't dodge. The potted plant smashed right on her head. Shu Qian had no time to care for the unlucky Zhang Li. He stepped forward and looked at the orange cat, puzzled. "Taoist, why are you here?" The orange cat spoke human words, and asked, "What were you just doing?" Shu Qian awkwardly smiled. "Just a little experiment." The orange cat didn't ask further, but looked at Zhang Li and said, "Is that the astrologer from the Si Tian Zhen?" Shu Qian responded with a hum. "With the Taoist's eyesight, you should be able to see the dark clouds gathering above her head." The orange cat looks serious. "It's more than just dark clouds gathering. She seems to be someone cursed by the heavens, also revealing heavenly secrets. Compared to the seers, the diviners in the wizarding system are truly blessed. They only need to endure 81 tribulations, and they can become diviners. However, seers have to endure 3,600 calamities." Shu Qian suddenly hummed in confusion, and frowned, saying, "Prophet, isn't that the same thing? Just different names." The orange cat chuckles. "It seems you still don't know. The sorcerer system is only 600 years old. It has the same lifespan as the Great Feng dynasty. But don't you find it strange? The martial system is still without a martial god to this day. However, the ranks of wizards, Buddhists, Taoists, and Confucians are very complete. That's because they all have thousands of years of history." Shu Qian keenly noticed the irrationality in this. Yes, in just 600 years, the sorcerer system has become so complete. If it really started from scratch to create a system, the first monitor must have been an extraordinary genius. How could such a person possibly not surpass the grade? He wondered. "So, what's going on here?" The orange cat didn't answer directly, and laughed. "Let me tell you a piece of history, you figure it out yourself. The founding emperor of Dafeng faced great hardships. He was forced to the brink of despair several times. One year, he went to the northeast to seek troops from the witch god sect. He promised that if he could overthrow the corrupt court and establish a new dynasty, he would make the witch god sect the state religion. The millions of miles of the Central Plains would also be incorporated into the witch god sect's territory. The witch god sect agreed. He borrowed 200,000 elite soldiers, and many masters from the Wushan sect. Later, that founding emperor overthrew the decaying previous dynasty, defeated all the warlords and unified the Central Plains. But the Wushan sect did not get its wish to become the state religion of Dafeng, because Dafeng had an additional astronomical supervisor. The sorcerer system was born from it. Shu Qian's mind was left with only two words: holy crap. The sorcerer system originated from the wizard system. No wonder the abilities of the seer and the diviner are so similar. And the sorcerer originated from the wizard. Although it has the foundation of the wizard, it is still not easy to create an entirely new system. The hidden truth behind this may only be known by the first superintendent and the founding emperor of Dafeng. I suspect this is related to the secret the superintendent guards. This might unveil the mystery of Yunzhou's mystical arts. There are similarities between the martial arts system and the warrior-monk system. Could there be a historical connection between them? Shu Qian changed the topic and said, "Dafeng, what are you looking for me for?" The orange cat gazed at him wistfully. "Passing by this place, I noticed your good fortune disappeared. Came to take a look." When Shu Qian heard this, the first thing that came to his mind was a question mark. No wonder he hasn't picked up any silver these days. Turns out it's because of Supervisor Zheng's 404 method. The orange cat continued, "But after seeing that girl, I understood the reason." Shu Qian didn't explain. He knew Taoist Jinlian misunderstood. He thought Zhang Li's bad luck would cancel out his own good fortune. As more and more people from the martial world flooded into the capital, the city's security deteriorated rapidly. To solve this problem, Wei Yuan came up with a solution. He ordered the construction of a solid white marble tower, at each of the 4 corners of the outer city, called the Hero's Return Tower, specifically for those. Why are you staring at me? What are you going to do about it? Type of martial heroes to resolve their disputes. For a time, people from all over the country flocked to the heroes stage in the capital. Those with enemies in the city would jump straight onto the stage and call out, "Who dares to come up and fight? If you don't come, you're a coward." If enemies hear about it, they will respond to the challenge the next day. This provides a platform for martial artists to resolve conflicts without endangering ordinary people, and lets the citizens of the capital enjoy the spectacle every day. It's exciting to watch. It also boosted local dining consumption. Shu Qian nodded secretly. Father Wei still has some skills. He's an official who can achieve political performance. Shu Qian looked at Uncle Shu and asked, "Uncle, are there any female heroes who have gained widespread fame coming to the capital?" Uncle Shu laughed and said, "It's said that there are countless beautiful female heroes in the capital now, but the most outstanding ones are 4. They are the daughter of the Lord of Luyuan Sword Pavilion, nicknamed Butterfly Sword. Not only is she highly skilled, but also very beautiful. Rong from the Flower House, nicknamed the Enchanting Hand. I heard from my colleagues, she's simply a captivating seductress. No man can resist her charm. There's also the Master of Disguise, the Phantom Thief. No one knows what she really looks like, but it's said she's a master of disguise. She always appears as a stunning beauty. The last one is even more incredible. She was a renowned female swordsman, who wielded twin blades, a disciple of the Lizhou Twin Blades sect." Uncle Shu commented, "Truly a heroic and valiant woman. If I were 20 years younger." Shu Qian stared at him intently. Second Uncle Shu's scalp tingled. He quickly corrected himself. "I would still choose your aunt." Shu Qian nodded, and patted his shoulder, saying, "Leave those female warriors to your 20-year-old nephew." Shu Qian went to the street gate to check in, and spent half a month cultivating in the hall of his acquaintance, the Silver Gong Minshan. "Then I plan to patrol the streets with my 2 constables." Shu Qian asked, "Do you know where the heroines like to hang out?" The constable answered, "Of course, at the heroic platform. 4 arenas in the southeast, southwest, northwest, and northeast. It's quite lively now. Many inner city people are rushing to the outer city to watch the excitement." Shu Qian made a decision. "All right then let's go to the heroes platform in the South City today." At this moment, a man claiming to be a guard from Linan barged in. "Master Shu, the second prince requests your immediate presence in the palace." The second prince said that this matter concerns a human life. "Her life and death are in your hands." Shu Qian was at a loss. His head was buzzing. He first went to find Zhang Li, but before he could speak, Zhang Li said first, "I know. I will go back to the Astronomical Bureau first." Shu Qian was still a little worried. Will there be an accident on the way back? Zhang Li didn't know how to answer. Just leave it to fate. Shu Qian reached out and patted her on the head. "Let me bless you. Be extra careful on the road." Then he rode his beloved mare, riding side by side with the guards of Shaoyan Court, heading towards the imperial city. Shu Qian rushed into Shaoyan Courtyard and shouted anxiously, "Your Highness, what's wrong?" Linan waved her hand, dismissing the guards and maids. Only Shu Qian was left. Biao Biao stared at their departing figures until they were completely out of sight. She suddenly threw herself into Shu Qian's arms, then burst into tears with a loud wail. She accused tearfully, "He Jing wants to kill me." Shu Qian sighed. "Did you go and cause trouble with the princess again?" No. "Did the second prince go to Princess Watching to seek justice?" Biao Bao forcefully said him, sniffing, and said, "The Empress, that venomous woman, wants to kill my mother. I'm going to Watching to argue." Who would have thought she was heartless too, and even hit me? Shu Qian frowned, and looked at Linan. "Hit you? Where?" Biao Bao rolled up her sleeve, revealing a section of her fair, tender arm, with 2 faint whip marks on her snowy skin. "She whipped me with a cane," Shu Qian said indignantly. "This is outrageous. Rest assured, Your Highness, I will certainly seek justice for you. I won't let Hua Qing off easily." Biao Bao was somewhat moved. "No need for you to take action. He Jing is a princess after all. If you act on your own, the palace guards will shoot you." Shu Qian secretly breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you very much, Your Highness. Your intelligence is still intact." Shu Qian said with a look of readiness to die. If your highness loses a single hair, it would be a great humiliation for me, even if I am shattered to pieces. I will seek trouble for Hua Cheng. Biao Bao nodded slowly, and said with a sniffle, I summoned you to the palace today for this matter. I've been pondering over and over. I could have resisted at that time. I could have rushed forward and scratched He Jing's face, but I choked. I've thought about it again and again. It must be because I don't have competent guards by my side. You accompany me to Hiking's Spring Vine Garden once more. Why? Shu Qian felt an urge to curse. It felt like he shot himself in the foot. Shu Qian cleared his throat. Your Highness, please calm down. Tell me what happened, so that I can carefully consider it. He silently thought how to quietly slip away. After wrapping up the case of Consort Fu, Biao Bao told Shu Qian every detail of the palace fights that happened afterwards. As expected, the Empress hated Consort Chen deeply. She made things difficult at every turn. It was only then that everyone realized that the Empress was skilled in all the arts of the harem. She simply hadn't had a chance to use them before. Every day at dawn, she made Consort Chen come to pay respects. And then she would harshly criticize her, ordered the palace maids to criticize Consort Chen, making her the laughingstock of the harem, and punished her with kneeling, and other physical punishments like flogging. Biao Bao said angrily, do you think the Empress is heartless and cruel? Shu Qian sneered twice in his heart. Your mother caused the death of her brother. Of course the Empress would want to fight your mother to the death, although the prince deserved to die. He frowned and said, anything else? Biao Biao almost started crying. Of course, just yesterday, mother suddenly got poisoned. She was barely alive. The servants of Jingshu Palace hurried to call the imperial doctor, but who knew the doctor was taken away by the servants of Fengxi Palace. Shu Qian was shocked. What happened next? Biao Bao said with lingering fear. Luckily, there were antidote pills stored in mother's palace, which saved my life. Shu Qian let out an enigmatic "oh." The poisoning was likely Consort Chen's self-inflicted plot to frame the Empress. The Empress, grieving the loss of her brother, chose to confront head-on, so she seized the imperial physician. Consort Chen, helpless, had no choice but to take out the antidote to save herself. He asked, what was His Majesty's reaction? Biao Bao snorted forcefully, expressed his dissatisfaction. The emperor said nothing. Shu Qian speculated. Yuan Jing Emperor should be well aware, and didn't care. Just let them make a fuss. You can't say they're not being managed. At least, I haven't seen any signs of Wei Gong's intervention yet. If Wei Gong had intervened, Consort Chen might already be done for. Shu Qian tested. Why does the Empress target Consort Chen? Your Highness, do you know? Biao Bao pretended not to hear. A trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. Shu Qian understood. He sighed inwardly. It seems she knows everything. Shu Qian said helplessly, let's go. I'm heading to hiking. Linan directly pulled out a stick from under the table. Shu Qian was stunned. You were already prepared for this, huh? Shu Qian hurriedly advised. Your Highness. Calm down, calm down. Should we reconsider? Linan pursed her lips, and said aggrievedly, I knew it. Your heart is actually leaning toward Hua Cheng. Shu Qian hurriedly grabbed the stick. Nonsense. I'll go if I want to. In the warm morning sunlight, tree branches sprout new buds. Hiking, dressed in an elegant palace gown, sits in the pavilion, holding a scroll in her hands. Shu Qian and Linan arrive angrily. The cold and aloof princess was oblivious. Immersed in her book, she gave a casual order to the guards on either side. If anyone disturbs my reading, kill them without mercy. Several guards placed one hand on their swords, and aggressively stepped forward. They dared not attack Princess Linan, so they directed their hostility towards Shu Qian. When Linan saw Shu Qian being forced back, she chickened out halfway. Without her lackeys to back her up, she definitely wouldn't dare to face hiking alone, so she hid behind Shu Qian and said delicately, Stinky hiking, come out here. Shameless hiking, if you have the guts, come and challenge me. But Princess Hiking paid no attention. She was engrossed in her book. A quarter of an hour later, Biao Biao led Shu Qian away dejectedly. Shu Qian sighed and said, forget it, Your Highness. The gap is too big. Shu Qian thought with relief. That works too. Saves me the trouble later. Prince Hiking, you really are my little sweetheart. You easily solved my problem. But hitting Li Nan was too much. Send Li Nan back to Shaoyan courtyard. Play go with her. Tell her stories. Near noon, Shu Qian took his leave. He is an outsider. Li Nan is an unmarried princess. She can't linger too long, and she can't dine together. Biao Bao waved happily. I'll invite you to the palace again another day. Shu Qian left the palace gates, and rode his mare out of the imperial city. The conflict between the empress and consort Chen is irreconcilable. Consort Chen cannot outmaneuver the empress. She will definitely target Li Nan, use her as a spear against the empress. According to Hiking, Li Nan in her girlhood was even more foolish than now. Wherever concubine Chen pointed, she would strike. If Hiking didn't fight back, she would just be bullied. But once you fight back, Li Nan is bound to get beaten, and all of this is exactly what consort Chen wants to see. I, as the dignified Sea King, should not be led by the nose by a fish. I need to think of a way. The arena in South City is set up in the square by the river. 2 martial artists are fighting in the arena. Since the arena appeared, the authorities have relaxed their control. Martial artists can apply at the yamen to retrieve their weapons, but they must return them the next day, otherwise, they will be wanted throughout the city. However, young heroes from prestigious sects can use their sect's endorsement. No need to surrender weapons. But if you kill or commit crimes, the sect will be held responsible. Shu Qian glanced around the room. He didn't find any outstanding heroines. At this moment, Tong Luo explained, Master Shu, the people watching the opera outside are all common folks. Those with status and prestige are in the tea houses and restaurants nearby. Shu Qian glanced at him with satisfaction. I thought, little brother, you really know your stuff. He immediately glanced at the nearby tea houses and taverns. Indeed, there were many spectators on the 2nd floor lookout. He also saw an exceptionally beautiful heroine. She had just taken a step. Suddenly, I felt a hard lump under my foot. I looked down. It was actually a purse. Shu Qian was stunned. He thought, didn't Supervisor Zheng, that old codger, take away my money-finding buff? Shu Qian picked it up and weighed it a few times, and found it quite heavy, so he happily put it in his pocket. Then he noticed a child next to him watching him, seemingly annoyed for not seeing the pouch. But someone else got there first. Shu Qian acted as if he was going to grab him. What are you looking at? Whose child is this? The child was immediately scared and turned to run away. Shu Qian laughed heartily, thinking how timid she was. I was even thinking of buying you a sugar-coated hawthorn. Entered the restaurant, and found a table on the 2nd floor. Shu Qian has no interest in the fight on the stage. He squints his eyes, scrutinizing the female warrior at the neighboring table. She is wearing a pink gauze dress, revealing her fair neck, and delicate collarbones. Thin clothing accentuated her prominent chest. He swallowed his saliva. If she were a proper nightclub queen. Shu Qian boldly declared, Waiter, bring a jar of 82 Lafitte to the table across. It's on me. The waiter didn't understand. He paused for a moment. Shu Qian sighed in resignation, and corrected himself, a jar of Chun Yi Nong. The waiter understood this time, and scurried away, because this is the most expensive wine in the restaurant. At that moment, Shu Qian saw a woman climbing the stairs. Her gaze swept around the hall. Then she walked straight towards him, looking down at him. Give me back my purse. Shu Qian looked at her. This woman looks to be in her 30s. Her figure was average. Her looks are quite plain. I've seen many beauties of the same age, like noble consort Chen, like my own aunt. In terms of looks and figure, everyone wants to beat up this woman. But she has a drive that these beautiful women lack. It's that kind of willful stubbornness. It's really strange and peculiar. Such grace appearing in an old auntie. Shu Qian calmly took a sip of tea, not admitting it. What purse? The woman looked down at Shu Qian, gritting her teeth. A light green purse. Inside, there are 20 taels of gold. Give it back to me. Shu Qian's heart skipped a beat. His face remained calm, even puzzled. This lady, what does it have to do with me that you lost your purse? The woman got furious upon hearing this, and screamed, Auntie? Shu Qian was also taken aback. What's with this reaction? Don't you know your own age? He waved his hand dismissively. I didn't pick up your purse. Get lost quickly.